Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's the 2 o'clock show and wow, have I got some news for you. I am Sam. I'm going to be bringing you some exclusive stuff that I haven't seen being put anywhere yet. I'm going to be answering all your questions and some of you may be thinking, first of all, why is Sam sitting in the seat for the 2 p.m. show? It's because you might have heard yesterday because Beth wasn't on. Beth is ill, so I've been called off by the gaffer off the bench, so I'm starting today's 2 p.m. show. We're going to be talking about Michael Carrick. Could he be a possible caretaker or manager for Manchester United in the future? Does Sir Jim Ratcliffe want change? What on earth is going on inside Carrington with the renovation? Is Erik Ten Hag blocking people from seeing certain things? I'll be bringing you the latest on that, and I'll also be telling you a bit of insight as to why some previous coaching staff that left are no longer at the club. And also I'll be telling you about Thomas Tuchel. Obviously Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News wrote the article this morning, but where has that come from? What side is pushing that? And also Sir Jim, Joel Glazer and Gary Neville I've just walked into Old Trafford. I'll be telling you why they are in. But I'm super excited about this. I want to see all you guys and everybody in the chat. I'm seeing cemented already being put in the chat. We're going to bring you some exclusive stuff. But first, I haven't been on in a while, so I just wanted to tell you guys my opinion on Erik Ten Hag, and I want to see the general consensus of what is currently in the chat and then get your comments below as well. So I put it out yesterday, but let me tell you guys now, this is my opinion on the current situation. So if Manchester United were to keep Erik Ten Hag, which isn't being ruled out by anybody senior at Manchester United as it stands, they're delaying the inevitable for me. Fan pressure is at an all-time high, as is the pressure from those in the UK media who are basically calling Ten Hag a disgrace, and that his position is being portrayed by the UK media and some of the fan base as untenable. That is point number one. Point number two, if you sack him this week, it's the international break, okay? A new manager will come in, potentially during the international break, or will we have an interim manager? I'm going to tell you in a minute. And then it's a clean reset and it's a clean chance. For me, there's one big thing as well. Erik Ten Hag's press conferences, not the pre-game press conferences where he sits at Carrington, but it's the press conferences where he's, he's at Old Trafford and he's been speaking to Sky or TNT or the rights holders before the game. And he says stuff like, this is a process and I've won 2 trophies and we're all aligned on this project. Look, I get it. If you're fighting to keep your job, you're obviously going to talk about what you've won, but how long can you keep saying this is a process? You've had ages, mate. You've literally had ages. How much longer can we keep a process going? And then we're all aligned on this project, talking about Ten Hag and Ineos. Are you all aligned on the project? Because those upstairs aren't really aligned on your project. So what's going on? What is going on? Get your comments in below. I'm very excited about this. Let's get this interactive. Let's get this going. I'm just going to talk to you first about a video that's literally circulated online in the last half an hour of Sir Jim and Joel Glazer walking into Old Trafford. So this is my understanding from those close to Manchester United. They have told me this. I understand that the video circulating of Sir Jim and Joel Glazer, Sir Jim Glazer, that's not his name, walking into Old Trafford today, it's a long scheduled visit for various meetings. So apparently Sir Jim and Joel Glazer are in Old Trafford on a long scheduled visit for various meetings. Now, Gary Neville was also pictured walking into Old Trafford. The club haven't got into exactly what is on the agenda, but I imagine if Gary Neville's there, the stadium situation will be discussed, and I can't imagine that they're going to be there saying to Neville, "Oh, Gary, should we sack the manager?" That's not going to happen. So then, this will be followed by a routine monthly executive meeting in London tomorrow. First reported by Laurie Whitwell in The Athletic, the Manchester United leadership team will be meeting in London tomorrow as pressure mounts on Erik Ten Hag. The club say this is a routine monthly executive meeting that will take place in London. Also, a little bit of news on Joel Glazer. Joel Glazer is going to be attending the Quarterly Fans Advisory Board meeting at Old Trafford today. So that meeting is obviously going to take place later today. Joel Glazer is going to be there. Apparently, Sir Jim did this earlier in the year. Manchester United tell the media. So it's very, very interesting that Sir Jim is in town. Obviously, we saw him at the Villa game. He was at Villa Park along with the whole Ineos leadership team. But it's interesting that Joel Glazer is in town as well. Why would Joel Glazer be in town if the situation was calm and relaxed, as some are portraying the Manchester United current situation? I just want to get this going in the chat. Let me tell you, I want you guys to tell me what your current thoughts are about the stadium. Then we're going to move on and I'm going to tell you the latest and exclusive stuff that you haven't seen before. Are you abolish Old Trafford or keep Old Trafford? Tell me in the chat. If maybe we could run a poll on that. Greg, if we could run a poll, that would be good. Are you keep Old Trafford or are you abolish Old Trafford? So I said this on a video and it was played and it might have gone out on TikTok actually. So obviously you guys can see me, right? I didn't live through the glory days. As you know, Ricky, for example, he lived through the glory days. He saw the greats at Old Trafford. He saw everything being won. The most memorable stuff that I could tell you is from recent history. This is what ticks a box in my head, right? Ahmad scoring that winner at Old Trafford, which was ages ago, if you're counting it in days, in the FA Cup. Sancho scoring that goal against Liverpool where he sent the defender. That was even earlier. And then fast forward to Wembley and I was there for the Carabao Cup final. And then obviously the FA Cup finals, well, I wasn't there. So I haven't lived through the glory days. So for me, a new stadium wouldn't be the end of the world. But then you learn from people like Ricky and you learn from people who have lived through the glory days and they tell you the amazing stories and the history that is Manchester United that some of the players don't understand, but they tell you the history of Manchester United and you're like, wow, how can we ever leave that stadium? So it's going to be very interesting what they decide to do. There's an either or poll going right now, new stadium or renovate Old Trafford. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about this. Exclusive, United stand, my sources, this is what I understand. Former Manchester United captain Michael Carrick would be open to a return to Manchester United in some capacity. He's been discussed as a potential assistant or caretaker if the club wanted someone in charge until the end of the season from October/November. He would then remain as staff if this happens. We've got to remember, Michael Carrick served as an interim manager for Manchester United. He served for that brief period in time from November-December 2021 after Ole's departure and then obviously before Ranić then took over. Carrick was in charge for 3 games. His record was wins 2, losses 1, losses 0, draws 1. He won against Villarreal in the Champions League, won against Arsenal in the Premier League, and then drew against Chelsea in the Premier League. Would you take Michael Carrick as caretaker manager of Manchester United over the likes of Ruud van Nistelrooy, and then until somebody could be placed in charge? Let me get your comment in. Tell me, super chat me, tell me what on earth is going on. Would you take Michael Carrick back? Tell me, let me know. Let me read some of the comments. Wow, a lot of people already saying no. David Cross says he can't even get his team out of the Championship. McKenna has. It's a very good point. Some people are saying yes. Jed says Carrick is not leaving Borough. So it's interesting because apparently he'd be open to some sort of Manchester United return. Now, obviously, someone said to me, let me read you out the message I got when I sent this information out. It would be pretty wild as he'd have to leave an actual management job just to be caretaker. And I said, yeah, for sure. It would be pretty wild. But he's a club legend and he's a former captain of this club. If he was offered that job, I don't see him turning it down. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Will Manchester United make that leap of faith and maybe go and hire Michael Carrick if they decide to sack Erik Ten Hag, or will they give it to Ruud? Carrick is an option. That is confirmed. I've double sourced it. Michael Carrick is for sure an option. Okay? Let's move on. This is what I'm hearing from senior people at Manchester United. Sir Jim Ratcliffe believes enough is enough and that it's time for change. But it's stressed to me that no final decision has been made. And obviously, I've just told you about the meeting that's taking place tomorrow. Joel Glazer will be there, the entire Ineos board will be there, and so will Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Sir Jim Ratcliffe believes enough is enough. Do you believe enough is enough? Are you Ten Hag in or are you Ten Hag out? Tell me in the comments below. I'm going to be reading some of your comments. And if you've got any questions, make sure you send your super chats in and I will answer your questions. He believes enough is enough. Now, is enough enough? Let's talk about this. Manchester United won against Barnsley. That's the last time we really saw somewhat of a good performance, but it was Barnsley. It's not like we, battered Arsenal 7-0. It was Barnsley. It's not impressive. No one was impressed by that Manchester United performance, right? I'm sure you guys agree. You weren't impressed. You were thinking, yes, this is what it should be. But even going into that game, some people weren't confident. And do you know how crazy that is? They're not even confident that you'll beat Barnsley at home. Under the lights at Old Trafford. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. That is the current situation at our football club. We can't even go into small games thinking we're going to win. So then anyway, we'll fast forward. A couple of weekends ago, right? Spurs came to Old Trafford. We were sat in these seats for the build-up show. The forum set's behind me, as you can see. And people were saying, nah, we've literally got no chance. We've genuinely got no chance. But then you always want to remain positive, right? Because you don't always just want to write everything off. You don't always just want to say, no, obviously we're going to lose this game. Like, what are you talking about? Because that's not the case. Every time Manchester United play, you want Manchester United to win. Even the Ten Hag out brigade, if you're a Manchester United fan and a true Manchester United fan, and every time the players put on that kit, you don't want them to win so that the man in charge can go, I don't agree with that. I think every time Manchester United play, you should back the team. You have to back the team. Yes, their performances haven't been good. Yes, their performances have been sloppy. Yes, our captain got sent off in back-to-back games. But it doesn't matter. Every time the players play, you have to back them. Okay, you don't have to back the players, but you just have to want the team to win. You have to want the team to win. Those people that say, I don't want Manchester United to win so that we can sack Ten Hag, I don't understand. Maybe I'm missing something, right? But tell me in the comments, because I genuinely don't understand how anyone could be watching Manchester United and thinking, oh, I really, really hope we lose, because I can't back that. But let me get into some of your comments below. Diz says Carrick is a definite no. Sam Gam says the Barnsley game was a nice result, but we should be doing it against the smaller teams. Yes, exactly. Andy Williams says Erik Ten Hag is the worst manager I've ever seen. I get it. Ten Hag's fallen out with numerous players. Ten Hag, he isn't the most exciting personality. You don't see him animated much on the touchline. Although, did any of you guys see Rude and him going at it yesterday when the cameras panned to him at Villa Park? They were kind of going at it, and I was thinking, why are they arguing? But it's interesting. Like the dynamic at Manchester United is very interesting right now. Let's get back to some of your comments. Liam says Erik Ten Hag's body language is too poor. Angelo Moses says Ten Hag is too stubborn. Loads of you saying Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney's doing not a good job with Plymouth. He got sent off the other day. Bit like Bruno Fernandes. Rooney keeps getting sent off for Plymouth. They're not doing that well. I was at Watford Plymouth a few weeks ago, and Plymouth were boring. They really didn't excite me. They played utterly boring football. Let's end that poll if we can. Either or, new stadium 49%, renovate Old Trafford 51%. Very interesting stuff. You guys would renovate Old Trafford. You're just about renovating Old Trafford. Let's end that poll. And if we could get another poll going, please, Greg. Can we have Michael Carrick as interim? Yes or no? And let's see what you guys think about that. Let me tell you guys a little bit about Erik Ten Hag and the dynamics at Carrington. Erik Ten Hag, so I'll tell you what message I received and then what additional information was put to me by club staff, okay? Erik Ten Hag and the club recently had the training pitch walled off, okay? So that means no one can see them, including youth players, academy staff and other personnel. Erik Ten Hag and the club recently had the first team training pitch walled off so nobody could see them. Why? Is that a bit weird? I put it to Manchester United. Manchester United club sources said to me that it's for privacy reasons and for wind deflection. So the wind isn't in their faces. But it doesn't add up for me. Because if it was for wind deflection, they play football in the wind. So how could it be for wind deflection? It hasn't gone down very well with staff at Manchester United and especially people within the academy. The first team are pretty much isolated. You don't really see the first team. They drive in the car park. Left is the women in the academy building and right is the first team men's building. You don't really see them. And you can't even see them train anymore because it's been walled off. I think it's a bit weird. Personally, I think it's a bit weird. But some could say that it's about leaks. But it doesn't matter. We're still getting the leaks. I'm here leaking you information right now. I'm leaking that they're not, that you can't see the first team. They're being hidden. It's weird. It's really, really, really weird. Exactly. Wind deflection. These players are made of paper. That's what club staff said to me. They said it's for wind deflection and privacy reasons. Privacy reasons, I can understand why they'd say it's privacy reasons. I could understand that. But wind deflection, it doesn't add up. Let's get into some of your comments. Carrick is interim. This poll is running. Yes or no? Get your comments in. Get your super chats in if you've got a question you want me to answer about the current situation at Manchester United as well. JR says, I'm Erik Ten Hag. I'm Erik Ten Hag, don't care anymore. Just want the players to perform and show us some fight and spirit and that they care for the club. Well, it's exactly. The players, Johnny Evans won man of the match the other day, right? I know Mark spoke about it. Johnny Evans won man of the match. Do you know, it's embarrassing. There are senior players on that pitch that didn't get man of the match performance. You know that when Johnny Evans is playing, we brought it to you on the build-up show. It's my information, and I passed it on to Tuchel, and I said, yes, it's Maguire and Evans. I wanted Maguire to play at Villa Park. I didn't expect Evans to play. We also need to talk about Lisandro Martinez, how he didn't come on at all. Why? It's weird. Let's talk about it in a sec, right? But it's very, very weird. But you know with Evans, okay? You know with Evans that every time he puts on that shirt, he's going to perform. Every time Evans puts on that shirt, he's going to fight for the badge. Every time Evans puts on that shirt, he will do anything for Manchester United to win. So was Erik Ten Hag starting 11 last game a goodbye starting 11? And if I'm going, we may as well go out with a fight starting 11? It's very, very, very weird. Some sources close to Erik Ten Hag told me on the 30th of last month. Some around Erik Ten Hag think enough work has been done around the Dutchman to warrant a longer stay. Then Erik had games against Porto and Aston Villa where we drew 3-3 and 0-0. And now his future is still up in the air. Okay? His future is still up in the air. Sack or back? There's only so much we can keep talking about Erik Ten Hag. You've got to sack Erik Ten Hag or you've got to back Erik Ten Hag. And you could say, yes, Sam, but they backed Erik Ten Hag in the transfer window. So then why were all his players on the bench then? Anthony, bench. Xerxes, bench. Casemiro, bench. De Ligt, bench. Martinez, bench. Ugarte, bench. Mazraoui played. Højlund played. And there was one more in that 11 that was his signing, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. Why were all his signings on the bench? They've all played under Erik Ten Hag. They all know Erik Ten Hag. They don't just know him from his time at Manchester United. They know him personally. But why were they on the bench? They weren't rotated. I'm so bored of him saying that it was rotated, because you don't just rotate players, especially when there's an international break coming up. You're not going to do an international club a favour when you're fighting for your job. Rotation or dropped? I think you guys know the answer to that. Derek says Erik Ten Hag will be sacked. New rebuild. Interesting thoughts. Oliver Sharp, member for 18 months, says Watford are better than United. Maybe not. Maybe not. Carrick is interim at the moment. 36% of you say yes, and 64% of you say no. Let's get some of your comments in. Yeah, Onana as well. Delit came on. Okay, let's start talking about some of your comments. Of course, Carrick is a club legend. What hasn't he done for Manchester United? Ten Hag has a problem. You guys don't remember the fallout with Varane where he benched him for Kambwala. Well, it's interesting because those around Rafa Varane don't really say that they fell out. So it's a very, very interesting one. I see a lot of you are going for Thomas Frank as well. A lot of you want Thomas Frank, which is very, very interesting. Let's move on. The next bit of information. The complete change in first-team coaching staff was due to tensions with Erik Ten Hag. My information is the complete change in first-team coaching staff was due to tensions with Erik Ten Hag. Let's talk about this. Some of those coaching staff aren't under NDA. Benny McCarthy, who was a coaching staff with Erik Ten Hag, he's been doing interviews. He's been talking about the manager, talking about Cristiano. They're not under NDA. They can say what they think. And they don't really speak highly of the manager. There were tensions there. It's a fact. There were tensions there. There were tensions there. Eric Ramsey, he left. He chose to go to the MLS. Best of luck to him and all his career. But still, there were tensions. You don't. If you worked for Manchester United, would you choose to just leave Manchester United? No, there's a reason why you leave Manchester United, or there's a reason why you don't take the Manchester United job. You don't just leave Manchester United because you fancy something new. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. We're the biggest club in the world. It's just not. It's genuinely. I don't believe that's how it works at all. Keep getting your votes in that poll. Keep getting your super chat in. If you've got a question for me, send me your super chat and then I will answer it. Carrick is interim still. 36% of you say yes. 64% of you say no. Let's go to the final point. Two final points. The Manchester United hierarchy really want somebody as the next manager. Okay. Our next manager, after they eventually get rid of Erik Ten Hag, which is looking inevitable, if either it's now or it's later, but they will get rid of Erik Ten Hag at some point. They want him to speak very good English. The hierarchy want the next manager to speak very good English. I understand that Ten Hag, one of the reasons he didn't get the Spurs job was because his English wasn't very good. But the Ineos hierarchy, they really want a good English-speaking manager. He doesn't have to be English. He just has to speak good English, which leads me on to this. Thomas Tuchel. The whole talk all morning, when I was getting into the studio, I was getting messages. Sam, is Tuchel taking over? Sam, is Tuchel doing this? Are we really interested in Tuchel? Or is it just said journalist from the Manchester Evening News spreading absolute rubbish? This is the situation. Thomas Tuchel's team is pushing the idea and pushing to the media that he could replace current manager Erik Ten Hag. It is not Manchester United briefing out that Thomas Tuchel could take over. It's Thomas Tuchel's camp briefing that he would be open to accepting that managerial job. Now, if any of you follow me on my personal platform on Twitter, you'd see that I've got very close relationships with some people at Chelsea. Those people at Chelsea told me that Thomas Tuchel should have never been sacked. They really didn't understand the idea of why Thomas Tuchel got sacked. I remember the day of Thomas Tuchel getting sacked. I remember where I was, and I remember messaging some of those at Chelsea and them saying to me, what on earth? Why have we just got rid of Tuchel? But that's because the new managerial board came in and they decided, it's the new ownership came in, Clearlake, Todd Boehly, and they said, it's our time, we're going to do this how we want, we're going to do this our way. They got rid of Tuchel. Did that work? Because they then went through Graham Potter, who's also linked with the Manchester United job, Mauricio Pochettino, who was also linked with the Manchester United managerial job, obviously now manager of the US national team, so won't be getting the Manchester United job, and Tuchel. They also tell me that Tuchel is a very good man manager. Now, most of you are telling me Erik Ten Hag isn't a good man manager. Thomas Tuchel, according to some at Chelsea, is a very, very good man manager. So that ticks some of your boxes, right? But then it's interesting because you speak to some agents of players that have played under Tuchel, and he's apparently quite a controlling manager. He likes to know what the players are doing. He likes to know if they've got a safe and secure personal life. He wants to be very hands-on and very controlled. That could be a good thing. It could be a good thing. It could be what Manchester United need. I personally would back the idea of Tuchel taking over if Manchester United sacked Erik Ten Hag. If Manchester United sacked Erik Ten Hag. Somebody in the UK media has just messaged me, would Emery be a good choice? I don't know. Would you guys take Unai Emery? There's no links there, by the way. There are no links there. Would you take Unai Emery? Probably not. I probably wouldn't take Unai Emery. Yes, he's done wonders. Yes, they beat Bayern Munich, but then, you know, we drew to them. All of this, all of that, you know the drill. I probably wouldn't take Emery. Oh, but you guys are saying yeah. You would take Emery. Interesting. Some of you are saying yeah, some of you are saying no. Interesting. You guys have very mixed opinions. Very mixed opinions on Unai Emery. We're going to wrap up the show very, very shortly, but there's just some stuff coming out from Fabrizio Romano that I'm going to read to you as well. And also, Alejandro Garnacho will not be called up to the Argentina national team for their upcoming games due to physical issues. Manchester United will assess Alejandro Garnacho. Is this just injured so he doesn't have to play the international games? We will find out and bring you that news. Apparently, Argentinian media say he's suffering with a knee problem, but let's see the latest on that. From Fabrizio Romano, Manchester United are still discussing Erik Ten Hag's situation internally, as I brought to you at the beginning of the show. Thomas Tuchel remains a candidate for Manchester United if Erik Ten Hag is sacked. Again, that is true. There are some people high up, in my information, there are some people high up within Ineos that back Gareth Southgate. Even if Gareth Southgate isn't an active option, there are people there that back Gareth Southgate, and there are people there that back Tuchel, among other managers as well. Without specifying names, there are two leaders, then there's two people under them in Ineos, and the two people under them are relaxed on either way what the situation is going to be. Some people are saying we need Xavi. That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Melissa Reddy from Sky says that Manchester United are refusing to panic and they will be measured when considering next steps over how to move forward with the club. How to move the club forward with Erik Ten Hag. He is calm over his position ahead of Tuesday's executive meeting. Those close to Erik Ten Hag think he's done enough. They think that he deserves to stay. But obviously, you know, if you're a manager of Manchester United, would your team be briefing out that you haven't done enough to stay? Obviously not. But if he stays, you've got to get behind it. We've all got to get behind it. But they're delaying the inevitable. So we all know that Erik Ten Hag is going to lose his job. It's just about when, not if. That's how I see it. Let's get your final comments in and then let's wrap up. We are 14th in the league. Yep. Yeah, we are. Love United, hate the ops, says, is there anything on Rashford and Ten Hag beef? There's no specific beef between Marcus Rashford and Erik Ten Hag. Obviously, Marcus Rashford went out in Belfast. He got absolutely hammered. He was then dropped by Erik Ten Hag for that game. I think it was away at Wolves, but somebody in the chat will know. Was it away at Wolves? I'm pretty sure it was away at Wolves that he was dropped. And he didn't play. Obviously, he came on and then he scored. There's no beef, they talk. I wouldn't call it beef, but obviously tensions between a player and the manager, they're obviously there. They're obviously there. It might have been Fulham, but we were definitely away from home, and Marcus Rashford was dropped because he went out in Belfast. But I think that kind of wraps up the latest Manchester United news. Obviously, this exclusive news was brought to you live on the United Stand by myself. Drop us a follow. Former Manchester United manager, former Manchester United captain Michael Carrick is open to return in some capacity. What on earth is going to happen there? Will Manchester United decide to back or sack Ten Hag? Sir Jim thinks that he wants to change, but it's not really his decision. It's the people under him that he's appointed. It's his decision. Who else could come into the race? Thomas Frank, Unai Emery, Gareth Southgate, Graham Potter. What on earth is going on at Manchester United? One big mess. It's one big mess. Will Michael Carrick become the interim manager of Manchester United? It would be very, very interesting to say the least. But thank you guys for joining me on the 2 p.m. show. I hope it's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Always bringing you the latest and the top information verified by different people and those high up in Manchester United. That's all from me for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, guys.